So, I hear we're into some of the same stuff.
You're about to join Jon
and Eric
as we explore said stuff.
really bad movies, Sega Genesis,
Sports and girls. The interesting aspects of pop culture.
and we'll answer listeners' mail because you have so much to say.
You are listening to
A sophisticated conversation.
Greetings and welcome to episode number 7 of Podcast Revolution.
Lucky 7.
All right, so
7
I'm your host, John Turcott, and with me is Eric Mitchell.
Hello.
Eric Mitch Monster Mitchell.
Hello, everybody.
Eric, what's your middle name?
It's Alexander.
Eric A. Alexander Mitchell.
That is correct. I am the great one.
The great one. That's what he says, anyways. All right, so it's been a few days since our last podcast.
It has been. Today is Father's Day, actually, and neither of us are fathers, so I guess we should celebrate.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes, we don't want to be having this holiday for us anytime soon.
God, no.
No.
So thank the Lord. That's a good news. I think our parents are probably happy that we're not fathers yet.
That's
either.
true.
That is very, very
They're
good.
probably pretty unhappy that they are fathers. Well,
At least my dad's probably pretty unhappy he's a father, but we aren't, so that's pretty good. So how's everything going, John? What's up? What's new?
Not a whole lot, actually. And actually, we do have an update. We will be going to Toronto. Plans have been finalized.
Yeah.
So you can look forward to a special
International
three or four
podcast.
part podcast event. These won't be normal episodes. They will be special.
These are going to be awesome. We got international podcast, and we bought some recording equipment so we can take it on the go, and
Maybe interview some Canucks while we're over there.
maybe they might say funny things like sorry and instead of sorry. Maybe we'll meet some of the Degrassi kids. I mean,
It's possible. You
we
never
could.
know.
We might run into Drake. We might try out for the Canadian national basketball team and make it.
No, I'm the worst. No, even I couldn't.
No,
make
but
it.
you're the best Canadian ever at basketball.
I don't know. I bet we could find Canadians better than me at basketball.
That would probably be pretty hard. But
But football. When it comes to football, I could destroy them.
really? Well, I mean, Canadians play football. They have the CFL.
They don't. That doesn't count.
They only have 3 downs in that. It's kind of weird.
Yeah, it's peculiar.
Very strange. So that's some big news. And other big news, John, is how many more days till you're getting married?
Well, actually, let me find out. Keep talking for a second.
Well, I would, but I wanted to branch into another subject from
well,
that. But while you're looking around,
I'd say probably about 30.
about 30.
No, I'm just kidding.
No, it's more than that.
No, I'd say about
What's it,
50. About 65.
Was it August 17th?
27.
27. I knew there was a 7 involved.
None of you are invited. I know we have so many fans who
Jerks.
really want to come.
Yeah.
You can't come.
You guys suck.
Invite only.
You guys aren't on the VIP list, but yeah. So John's getting married, and maybe some of the lady listeners out there may be able to help John because we were talking about this, and one thing I think is very hard for men, and even before John even got married, when I don't like to think of weddings that much for many different reasons, but one thing that scares the crap out of me if I were to get married is dancing.
Yeah. And weddings, like,
I
once
don't
the
know.
ceremony's over, the reception is 99% dancing.
And like everyone's like, oh, you got to be a good dancer to make a good impression to the bride's family. It's like, really, they're gonna judge you on your dancing skills? Like, it's like, who cares about like providing or making sacrifices or being a
if you don't got moves, you
yeah,
don't get the girl.
Who cares about being a selfless lover? You can't get down.
I mean,
Forget it.
if that was the case, if you're a traditionalist and you asked the father for a hand in marriage, which I did not, I apologize.
I wouldn't either. I congratulate you
Right,
on not doing
but
that.
but let's say you
actually.
do that, and he's like, you can have her hand if you can tango.
It's like you have to do the hustler 3 times, followed by the YMCA. And then the
Wait,
then the Macarena.
If you could really do the YMCA, I think he'd be like, maybe you should see my son.
It's like, I need you to do 3 Macaritas, the hustler. I mean, it's ridiculous. I mean, dancing, I agree with you, John, because to be honest with you, that freaks me out.
Like,
because...
I'm even considering pulling a Napoleon Dynamite and getting a dance video to watch to learn.
Are you really?
I'm considering it.
What kind of dancing?
I don't know. Whatever they have on YouTube.
To be honest with you, I've actually tried that before, too.
Did you fail miserably?
I failed miserably. Just dancing is one of those things that you can't force.
You either have it or you don't.
You do or you don't. It's like sports. Some people are athletic. They can just pick up any sport and start playing it and be decent at it, have fun. Other people are just
awkward.
Absolutely atrocious. Like, and dancing is one of those things. And one thing I think is funny is it's kind of like an oxymoron. Like, you talk to so many, like, women, and they're just like, oh my god, like, I want a tall, dark, handsome man that can dance. It's like really? Like you don't want a guy that, will be good to you, good lover, good potential father down the road, maybe.
Are you implying that tall, dark, handsome men can't be that as well?
No, not at all.
Okay, so. I was going to say.
But, it's just like, it's like, why dance? Like, I can understand why girls are into it, they like to get dressed up and
like the kind of guy who is good at dancing is usually kind of, there's something off about him.
It's usually not the kind of guy, if you were a dad, you'd want your daughter married.
Exactly.
So the whole fact of you need to impress the wife's family by dancing should kind of be like the opposite. Like if I was like, like your fiance's father and I saw you were incredible at dancing, I'd probably start polishing my guns and like getting ready to like murder you. But the fact that you're gonna suck at dancing, I think that's good. I think he'll be like, all right, good. I know my daughter's in good hands. She's marrying a guy who cannot dance to save his life. I know he's a good person.
So that's your scale. Like the worse dancer you are, the better person you are.
Pretty much, and the better dancer you are, the bigger.
Is it directly proportional?
I mean, come on. Let's think about this for a second. The guys who are really good at dancing, I mean, not to pull stereotypes, but they're usually the guys that wear, like, the shiny Ed Hardy t-shirts, like kind of like the Jersey Shore type of,
they say spray-on tans.
They say, like, bro a lot, and my boys, instead of, like, this is my friend, or they usually don't speak English, like, as good as they should, like... You know what I mean? Like, yo, bro, and they're kind of just, you find them on Jersey Shore, and I don't know. I mean, it's just, I feel like just the better the dancer you are, the bigger the jerk you are, and the worse the dancer you are, the better you are, I guess. I mean, I don't know. It's one of those crazy correlations.
So if you can't dance at all, your odds of being a douchebag are significantly lower than if you can dance well.
Like, think about it. I mean... Except, here's the thing.
All right,
there is a caveat. If you're on Dancing with the Stars, that's separate. Because Emmitt Smith, he's a good guy. He's good at dancing, but Emmitt Smith, he's a good guy.
Do you watch Dancing with the Stars, Eric?
Occasionally, yes. I'll admit.
All right.
I will admit. Aaron Andrews is on it.
So once he stops watching Degrassi, he switches over to Dancing with the Stars.
Yeah, I actually, I actually pick up the remote and switch to channels Dancing with the Stars when you're on a horse in Boston. So that's about the time I do
you change it while someone's clowning on you?
Oh. Oh, man. So dancing is just one of those things that, John, I totally agree with you. I think that's stressful. To me, it's like planning it is not.
Other than that, I'm not nervous at all.
I mean, what kind of dancing here's another thing though. Like, no one in our generation knows how to dance. Like old people,
like ballroom dancing.
Yeah, like old people. I've done
actually at a wedding I was at last week. There was this one couple that was just dancing for 4 hours straight, like just by themselves. They didn't stop once.
Yeah, I mean they're good. Like, cause I used to when I was in college, I did some what's that called? Like volunteer work. And one of the things we did at my school, we put on a senior citizen prom, and it was fun. And what was hilarious is walking the senior citizens in. They're all like canes, and they're all like old and barely can walk in. Like I'm like, it was so bad. Like it took like 30 minutes to move 10 feet. But the second the music came on, like they're playing music from like the 50s and 60s. I mean,
they were moving.
Like, and I couldn't keep up.
Actually, my theory on why people of older generations are better dancing than people of our generation is that back then, they didn't have any other choice but other than to go dancing and be social. Now you could be social playing video games in your house, sitting on your couch, getting fat.
Yeah, that's true.
And that's one benefit to dancing is that it helps you lose weight. Like, you don't see a whole lot of chubby dancers.
This is another caveat to dancing.
Well, Queen Latifah, I guess.
I mean, I guess, like, here's another thing. I mean, I know my whole, like, the bigger the douchebag you are, the better you are at dancing. I think another caveat to that, besides Dancing to the Stars, if it's, like, old school dancing. Like, I'm talking, like crazy cool ballroom. Like, that's kind of cool. I'll be honest with you. Like, if I could do that crazy
dancing
stuff.
that doesn't happen at clubs.
Yeah, like, I hate clubs. Like, I think dancing that, like, if say, swing clubs were still in, like, big band, throwing a girl around who's in a crazy, breezy dress, and I don't know. I mean, to me, that looks kind of cool. Like,
yeah, it does.
You know, when you watch those old videos from, like, the 40s and 50s, they're, like, throwing each other.
And the girl's got her big dress on, it's spinning around.
Yeah. I mean, to me, that's kind of cool. So that's another caveat. For all the guys out there who I offended who are dancers, if you do that, that's cool.
But if you talk with a lisp, you're back in the Eric's category.
But, I mean, back to clubs today. I mean, I hate clubs. I think that's one of my least favorite things.
Why would you go? Why would you go?
You just get roped in if you have a girlfriend. Well, for me, okay. If you're me, if you had a girlfriend, you would go. But if you're me and don't have a girlfriend, I don't go. But the guys
who can go mac on chicks.
The guys who do go to clubs are kind of like the bigger the douchebag. You know? Those are the kind of guys that go to clubs usually. I mean,
check out my new haircut, that kind of guy.
I mean, the thing with clubs is it's like, can you imagine if, like, you and Melissa are getting ready to get married, it's, like, now time for the first dance, and, like, Get Low by Lil Jon comes on. You start grinding the hell out of her in front of, like, her whole family. Like,
totally classy, right?
Yeah, I mean, that's, like, no one can dance in our generation. Like, that's...
It's funny that a lot of girls think they have class, and then they go to the skankiest clubs. And...
Well, I mean, that's another caveat, too. It's like, you go to, like, the movie Mean Girls, I think Lindsay Lohan said a line, something like around Halloween, like, every girl loves looking like a slut, but then any other day that's not Halloween, it's like, oh, that girl's... look what she's wearing. I can't believe that. But then they want to wear it too.
Except club night.
Except club night, yeah. I mean, the benefits of clubbing is, for the most part, you have pretty good scenery, I'd say. I guess that's how I'll put it. There's very good surroundings. But other than that, it's totally out of my element. Not my thing. I mean, I'd rather do something fun and go out with friends and... I don't know, play hockey or go to a game or go bowling or do something fun, ride bikes, go camping for the weekend, go around a fire, make some s'mores, have some drinks. Like, to me, that's a lot more fun than, like, going up to random strangers. I was like, you know, I mean, I don't know. That's just me. Maybe there's other people. Maybe, you know, if you're a listener and you disagree, send us an email to podcast.
Better yet, why don't you come in and fight us?
Yeah, come in and dance.
You know,
prove us wrong. Have a dance off.
We'll do a dance off.
You know,
and you'll win because we're too white.
I know. I mean, I think I'm more poking fun at guys because, to be honest with you, I mean, I guess I could see why girls are into dance. I'm not, like, complaining. Don't get me wrong. Like, the times that I had gone clubbing with girls I was dating at the time, I mean, it's pretty cool on some...
As long as they're not on horses, right?
As long as they're not Sarah Jessica Parker. I mean, if you're with your girlfriend or whoever, they're gonna look pretty good for you. I mean, that's good. You're pretty much gonna have fun. So, I mean, it's not all bad. I don't mean to pick on clubbers in general, but I just think it's too bad that dancing really isn't more than what it is now, I guess is my point. I just, you know, kind of wish it was...
Like the olden days?
I mean, not so much, too much like the olden days.
Frank Sinatra come down.
Just, like, you know, some cool, like, to me, that's cool, Dan. Like, when I see crazy swinging, like that, to me, would be kind of fun. Yeah, you're, like, throwing a girl around. Yeah. That's exactly how it sounds.
Yeah, I know, right?
I mean, to me...
Actually, whenever I hear that... sorry to interrupt you.
Oh, that's okay.
But I think of the Chips Ahoy commercial from when we were growing up.
Oh, the Chips Ahoy!
Makes me want a cookie. That was good advertising by them.
Oh, that was good. We still remember it like 10 years later. But yeah, I do remember that commercial.
Yeah.
And they're like jumping in the mill.
Speaking of advertisements, I think it's time for us to go to a break.
I guess we do.
We'll be back.
Hey guys, want a free trial of Netflix?
Yeah, we do.
All right, go to podcastpodcastrevolution.mypodcast.com. Click on the ad, and you can get 1 month free of Netflix. Watch your favorite TV shows. Watch your favorite movies. Stream it on a Wii. Stream it on an Xbox. Coming soon to Android and iPhone. You can watch everything. You can learn how to go fishing. You can do anything you want. 1 month free trial. Check it out.
And we're back.
Yay.
All right. So, yes, check out Netflix, everybody. All right. So, it looks like we've got some listener mail. So, I guess we might as well read it.
All right.
All right. Dear Jon and Eric, my girlfriend of 10 years and I are super in love, but she just got pregnant and I don't want any kids. Do you have any good suggestions on how to trick her into getting an abortion?
Oh, no.
I tried feeding her a bunch of birth control hid in a bowl of dog food, but that didn't work. I guess she's pretty smart. I tried that unbent coat hanger thing once, but she woke up when I put it in her, so I couldn't do it.
Oh, no.
She's pretty smart and has really nice breasts, so I don't want to leave her for Sparkles, this hot stripper I sleep with sometimes. Please help me! Signed, Robert Thomas. Tobbus. Tobbus.
Wow.
Robert Tobbus.
That was probably the most ridiculous question I think we've ever received.
I hope this is just a joke, Robert.
I hope this isn't a real question and you just wanted to be on the show.
But we did.
Because
He did honor our question.
We read our questions on there, and that's what we received. So I guess,
So like I said, like we've said before, if you send it, we'll read it.
We will.
So Robert put us to the test there, and we did as we promised.
I mean, this is Father's Day of all days too. Well, Robert, I'm guessing this may not be a real question, but there are some.
Let's say it hypothetically.
Listen, there are some real parts about it because I'm sure there's many men who go through their wife gets pregnant when they didn't want to have a kid. I mean, I'm sure that happens all the time. So we could answer it from that point. I mean,
well, the question I have is, he says she's pretty smart and he doesn't want to lose her. But if she saw him sticking an unbent coat hanger up her, don't you think she would have noticed by now?
I don't know.
Like, she can't be that smart if she hasn't noticed from that.
Oh, gosh. Oh, jeez. Anyways, going back to the question. Well, John brought up a good point when we first opened the email. I mean, I guess for someone who is in this situation where they have a loved one, whether it's a girlfriend or wife or whatever, that's pregnant and they weren't really that excited for it. I mean, maybe adoption? I don't know.
If you can deal with the 9 months of pure hell, and it'll be terrible. It'll be worse for you than it is for her. Trust me.
Yeah.
Trust me. Yeah. You if you can put up with that, just put it up for adoption, and you don't have to deal with the kid. But if abortion is the only option that you're considering, what do you say, Eric?
I don't want to get political on this show. I mean, I'm personally not for abortion. It's just my opinion. I'm not going to yell at people who for or aren't against. That's fine. Everyone's entitled to their own opinion. That's cool. So, I mean, I guess I would try to avoid that.
Well, I think you should honor his question by answering how he should trick her into getting an abortion. Don't avoid the subject.
I'm not answering that. That's a little too much for me to answer. That I don't know. I mean, I think that's one I can't do, but there's not many questions I won't answer, by the way. I mean, I don't want to scare people away from asking questions. I mean, like you said, we'll read anything, like this ridiculous question we got.
Well, Mr. Thomas, what I suggest is that if you do not own a Wii, which you should, I think you should go buy one and then play Wii Baseball and then accidentally swing a little too far one direction.
Man, John.
Not that I recommend it, and I think adoption is the way to go. But if worse comes to worse, you get a Wii out of the deal anyways.
I think I just got a phone call from your fiance. I think she wants to call the marriage off after that answer. Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I mean, that's one of those touchy questions.
It is touchy.
It can go. I mean, there's definitely some ridiculous in it, but if you take away all the ridiculous parts of it, as far as should we adopt or not or whatever, I mean, that's a tough question.
And Robert, we'd love a follow-up email to let us know how you resolve this situation.
I don't even know if I want to know how he resolved this situation, but anyways, nonetheless, thank you for the very interesting email that we received. So maybe we'll receive some more interesting emails in the future. So thank you very much. John, moving on. Last episode we got back into, we hadn't done a letter to the governor letter in a while, but John had two good ideas. The last one
we did do one last week.
He did the vampire one. Do you want to do the other one, or you want to?
Sure, yeah, I'll do the other one.
All right, John has another very good idea. So, Mr. Governor Lynch, we hope you're listening, because John has another gold mine idea. Right. I mean, this will help you. John, take it away.
All right, dear Governor. Well, I know I've told you before about adding seacoast to increase tourism and to add vampires to license plate to increase state revenue. Another way I think we could increase tourism and revenue around the state is to, well, first consider that we have a lovely presidential mountain range that's in the middle of the state where there's nothing but the kind of people who live there aren't our kind of people.
Beautiful mountains.
Beautiful mountains.
Beautiful mountains.
Wish we could say the same about the people. But
yeah, once you get north of Concord, there in New Hampshire, there's some interesting crowds in New Hampshire.
Right, so we think those places need a little bit more city, and the city places of the state could use a little bit more mountain. If you follow me,
I agree.
So I say that we relocate the mountains to the southern parts of New Hampshire where all the people are, so they don't need to travel as far, and that then the massholes can just come right up right away. No offense to the massholes, and they could just come right up and climb the mountains.
I think that's a genius idea, John. You move the mountains from north of Concord to like right around Manchester. That's where the people are.
Or even Nashua area.
Even Nashua. I mean, you got to think long term, and this will bring revenue. People will rather come there.
I'd even suggest making a mountain that's a replica of the old man in the mountain, but 300 times larger.
I agree. That's a great idea. And you
could scale his nose.
And Mount Washington, people love hiking Mount Washington. Why not move it about 2 hours south? I mean, bring it closer to the people, more people would hike it, and it would be more enjoyable.
I can't see any flaw to this argument.
I really don't either. So, John, another absolutely fantastic point. We say this, Governor Lynch, because we love New Hampshire so much, and we don't want to see Massachusetts be the king of New England. We don't want that. New Hampshire is a beautiful place that could be the top state in New England, and if you move
the country, the entire country.
I agree. And if you move these mountains, you will be moving our hearts.
Maybe put one at the seacoast.
Ooh, you put more land at the seacoast and a mountain.
Exactly.
It's two birds with one stone right there.
And we're doing this to help you, John Lynch. You don't even have to give us credit. Just do it, and we'll know in our hearts that we contributed somehow.
John, brilliant idea. Completely agree.
Thank you.
So, thank you, and we're going to go to a quick commercial break, and we'll be back with some more segments.
I'm a dog, and my owners are going away on vacation. Heard them talking about how they're going to Canada, and I don't want to be home alone, and I don't want to be put in no goddamn kennel. And if my owners just answer that thing they heard on the radio, if they go to podcastpodcastrevolution.com, then I can have someone come here and take me for walks at my own house and stay overnight with me, and then I won't be so lonely and miserable. So call Pop promise to make me happy, 'cause I'm the dog, and I'll bite you if you don't. Okay?
And we're back.
Yes, we are, Eric.
Oh, man. Well, anyways, for all those video game freaks out there, especially you Sega Genesis freaks out there, E3 happened, what was it, last week, I think? It went on for a few days over the weekend. E3, for those who don't know what it is, it stands for the Electronics Entertainment Expo. It's pretty much one of the biggest, not just video games, but
It's the biggest video game event in North America.
it is.
Each year.
And then there's also like electronics and computers and just like cool technology coming out pretty much. And I mean, the focus is video games, but they have a lot of stuff going on. And there were some big announcements that
like
came
every
out.
year, but yes.
Every year, especially. I think one of the biggest is the new Nintendo 3DS.
Actually, the clear winner this year is Nintendo by far.
Nintendo, they had a rough decade until really the end.
Until the Wii came out.
The Wii came out. I mean,
We helped turn everything around.
it really did. And the new games coming out for Wii and the new Nintendo 3D. That's right. I mean, 3D is everywhere now. It's on TVs, it's on movies. I mean, it's everywhere. And the Nintendo DS, the handheld video game system, I'm sure many people have seen before, there's now a 3D version coming out. But you don't even need 3D glasses. It uses crazy technology that like messes up your brain and your eyes, and it even makes
has
3D.
It even has 2 cameras on it, and it takes 3D pictures of you, so you could look at yourself in 3D.
That's creepy. Does it really have that?
Yeah, it really does.
I mean, that's wild. That's just nuts. And I guess the screen, the way it projects, it plays games with your mind. Like,
And they're re-releasing classic Nintendo 64 games in 3D too.
really?
Yeah,
What?
like Star Fox.
Oh,
and
that's awesome.
Zelda.
That is cool.
Zelda. I'm not sure about Mario, but
Do
I
a
wouldn't
barrel roll.
I wouldn't be surprised if they did Mario.
Wow, that's big news. So I'm really excited about that. I mean, I have a original DS from like 5 years ago when it came out, and I love it. I mean, I haven't used it in a while, I'll be honest, but it's cool. I like it. It's definitely a lot cooler than like the PSP.
Nintendo very innovative.
It's very cool.
And it's funny, like this has been known for several months, but they showed it at the E3. Is the PlayStation movement controllers, which is a total ripoff of the Wii controllers.
Absolutely. It looks like crap too. I mean, it looks like someone put a light bulb on the end of like a PlayStation remote. It's goofy looking. It looks horrible. Blatant. I mean, it's a travesty, is what it is. It's just horrible. Like you look at it, it's like really you couldn't come up with anything more creative. I mean,
yeah,
it looks like a joke. But I mean, I'm happy for Nintendo. I grew up loving Nintendo. I got away from it when the PS1 came out.
Wait a minute.
Awesome.
Wait a minute. You say you grew up with Nintendo and you loved it, but you also say that you hated Nintendo when you had a Sega.
Well,
why don't we go back a little bit?
I had an NES was the first system
Okay,
I had.
I had that too.
Okay. Sega Genesis is the next system I had.
Okay,
Sega
same here.
is my favorite system of all time. Hands down.
Hands down.
Absolutely. And then PS1 is next. PS1 was a great system. Anyways, and then after that, but Nintendo they always had Mario, Donkey. Even when I didn't have a Nintendo system, like I didn't have the 64, I didn't have the SNES, I always wanted one too because it had like Mario World, it had Donkey Kong Country. You know, it had all those
fun stuff.
You know, I mean, they're
classic games.
That was the reason to have a Nintendo, was just so you could play those games.
Well,
you know?
yeah. Why else would you own one besides to play games?
Like, I was jealous. My friends had like Star Fox 64. I mean, dual barrel roll. You know, I mean, that game was incredible. So, I'm happy for Nintendo. I really, I mean, in that way. I mean, Sega's just a developer now, but one big thing for Sega fans, though, one of the biggest Sega games, Genesis games, is the NBA Jam. And as I said before, they unveiled a ton of info about it. IGN even gave NBA Jam best sports game of E3. Wow. Beat out like NHL games usually win it every year. Beat it out.
We'll see how the final product is.
I'm so pumped for it. I can't believe it. And
actually, I think the one big event that for the Xbox 360. Well, first of all, they're releasing a slimmer version of the PS360, which has
the PS360.
Yeah, shut up. But of the Xbox 360, which has a wireless internet finally,
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah, and it uses less battery and it's quieter, so you can't complain about that. And
like the controller battery, you mean?
no, the system. Well, it uses less power and whatnot.
Oh, okay.
But another cool thing that the previously named Project Natal for Xbox 360 is now the Xbox Kinect, or yeah, I think it's called Kinect, Kinect, and it's a thing that you mount on the TV, and it mimics your motions that you do.
So it's kind of like a Wii, only you don't have to hold like a
you don't
Wiimote,
hold anything.
Kind of move around,
completely hands free. And like for instance, there's a skateboard game where you do the motions of skateboarding, and it does that in the game.
They should have like a fighting game.
And they have driving games where you just turn your hands, and like you're holding a steering wheel, and it turns the car.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah.
So you could like be eating food and then just put your hand out at the same time and like drive around.
Yeah, I see. People thought motion things in video games were just a fad that were going to be gone. Mm-hmm. I think they're sticking around.
I think so until virtual reality comes out and they like do Matrix things where they like hook up a thing into our brain or something. Until that, but we'll probably be dead when that rolls around. But
if we're not dead, that'll kill us.
Pretty much. That's when the robots will pretty much kill us.
Put a virus in a person. But actually, you know what's funny is I work with people who, and I know people in general who make fun of other people for playing video games. They say, you play video games and you're a loser and you have no life. But then you look on Facebook or whatever and you notice that this person spent the last 6 hours playing Farmville, which isn't even a video game. Like, it wants to be a video game. Like, that's what people who can't afford video games play because they're too cheap to go buy video games.
Like iPhone games. I never got into any of that. Like people thought iPhone there wouldn't be any more like portable Game Boys or Nintendo DS or 3. Like part of the reason DS went 3D is because they're worried about the iPhone. That's a big reason why.
But still, Nintendo sales on handheld are just as strong as ever.
But my point is just like I have an iPod Touch, which is the same thing as an iPhone except without the phone.
Right.
It's just an I guess. But like the games on it, I mean, they're like mini games. I mean, they're okay to like, you know, while I'm listening to music or sitting around in like Starbucks or Panera Bread. Games. You can just like chill out. But like, I would never play one for more than like 5 minutes. So like, I just never got why people thought like the handheld system market's going to be dead because of the iPhone. It's like, are you kidding me? Hardcore gamers aren't going to care about the iPhone. Like, they're like the stupidest games in the world. They're like 99 cents. Like, they're not even like real.
No. No, not until real developers get into this will phone games really take off.
The problem with phone games is the controls suck too. Like I
tried. Yes.
The good thing about the iPhone is you can download demos of games. So they made pretty much a ripoff of Simpsons arcade game. It's like an updated version. Simpsons arcade game. If you grew up in the 80s, early 90s, you knew this.
Possibly the best arcade game ever.
One of the best. That and like Ninja Turtles, Turtles in Time. Those were
very
similar.
Up there. Very similar games.
Both made by Konami. But anyways, you have to use the touchpad as like they put like little like translucent buttons and a fake little joypad on the screen, and like your thumbs take up the whole screen, and it's awkward. Like there's no precision. It's like you just start hitting stuff that you don't. It's crap.
Like these phones weren't designed to play games with specifically in mind. Like the developers have to work with what they have, they don't have what they want.
See, I think
not a functioning controller.
I think Nintendo could take on iPhone if they made a phone. I think if they made the Nintendo phone, that would be awesome. Like the 3DS it also includes a phone. You're not telling me that. I mean, I'm sure Nintendo's thinking about this. It's not like I'm the first one who brought that up, but to me that would be incredible. You have gamers, you have the tech nerds, and then you have Nintendo's strong brand name. That's true. I think a Nintendo phone, as crazy as it sounds, would be just fantastic. I mean, I think so much, especially if they made it like open source. And
actually, you know, it's slightly off topic. The one thing that bothers me about video games is that the hardware, they come up with so many models nowadays. Like back in the day, there was one Super Nintendo, and towards the end of its life cycle, it made a slimmer model, but that was it. But now you have the 3 different models of Xbox at the same time.
Crap.
And
one of them doesn't even have like a hard drive. Like you can't even like save stuff.
And if you went out and got it when it first came out, and then they come out with a new one, you got to go buy the whole new thing if you want the new features.
One thing I absolutely hate about Xbox, and the reason why I don't get one, is Xbox Live. I mean, as good as it is, it's stupid. You have to pay to like. I mean,
Well,
I guess that's part of owning an Xbox. It's just part of the cost because Xbox Live is cool. I'll admit it's pretty cool.
It's relatively inexpensive if you go for the long term, though.
It is,
and
but
Xbox Live is run significantly better.
Oh, way better
than any other.
One of the coolest things on Xbox Live. You ever done the 1 versus 100 game?
That's okay.
That's cool. Come on, you're telling me like you're at a party of people. It's live, especially the live version. You ever played when they do it live?
Yeah,
they have like a real host. I think it's cool.
I think real video games are cooler than that. No offense.
Oh, thanks, John. You
sorry.
actually did offend me, so thank you very much.
But you know, it's actually speaking of game shows. One show that I can't stand is the one with Howie Mandel.
Oh, the Make a Deal?
Yeah,
or no, it's not Make a Deal.
No.
Deal or No Deal.
Deal or No Deal.
No Deal.
Because no skill is involved in that game one bit.
What are you talking about? There's plenty of skill involved.
You have to pick a briefcase. That's it.
The best part is like I was watching one episode and they had 3 cases left. One was like $100, one was like $500,000, other was $1 million. Right? Girl picks a case, $1 million is gone. So it's $500,000 or $100. What do you think she did?
I bet she didn't take the dealer's deal and went with it.
It's funny because the deal that the banker or whatever he is, whatever you call him, it was like $250,000 or something. I'm just like, personally, this is my thought. If I went to a game show and I left with more than $5,000, I would be pumped. Like, there's especially a game like Jeopardy. You have to be smart. You have to study. This is like no skill.
No skill.
Like no skill. Like Price is Right. Like no skill.
Or they just look for people who have personalities.
Right. I mean, that's why. Because if they pick someone like me, no one would want to watch it. Because I'd be like taking the deal with like 10 cases left. You're like, yeah, that makes sense. Like it wouldn't be fun. But so they offered her like $250,000, and I'm just thinking, are you out of your mind not to take that? Are you crazy? Like, I mean, it's just. Excuse me, but
you know what they say: go big or go home.
She said that. And she was funny.
She did say that.
She didn't say that, but she was like, "Yeah, baby, we're going," and everyone was clapping and screaming. They opened
Did she fail?
She failed.
Yeah.
Inside the girl had the case of the 500,000. She left with 100. I'm just thinking, like, you could have had 249,000. $900 more if you just weren't an idiot.
and
it blows my mind. I mean, it makes great TV. I can see why they do it, but
and TV shows like that are good for them in 2 reasons. One, they're very popular because a lot of stupid people like to watch it, and it costs almost nothing to make because there's no actors to pay.
Yeah, I mean,
you pay the host, and then you pay the winning
girls
fees.
who hold the cases. I bet they get paid like $500 an episode. I mean, that's chump change to them. They make millions off advertisers.
Yeah.
So I mean, that's nothing. But I don't know. One show. I mean, as guilty as I am saying this, because this show is awesome for all the wrong reasons. I think you know what I'm talking about. To Catch a Predator.
Oh well,
please. I mean. Can you name me another show that should not be funny? I mean, should not be should not.
That is a great
absolutely
show.
Absolutely not be funny. But
that's a show that they need to release on box set. DVD.
I'm sorry, like you could put that in the comedy section, like a movie store, if they release it on DVD. And like, I'm serious. I mean, they only made I think like 8 episodes, and they stopped making it like 4 or 5 years ago because the guy killed himself. He killed himself. They stopped it back in like 2004, 2005.
No, I thought it was... No, it's more recent than that.
Really? But in all honesty, there's only like 8 episodes. Like 8 one-hour episodes. But every time it's on, you damn right I'm watching the whole thing. Like, it could be 1 a.m, I'd have work in a few hours, I'm watching it. Like, it does not get any funnier
no matter where you are in life, you don't want Chris Hansen to walk in on you.
I mean, that guy, he's such a smug jerk. Like it's not... Like, he makes it sound like he's all like almighty. It's like, dude,
Do you know who I am? I'm Chris Hansen.
It's like Chris. You realize you're surrounded with a bunch of like child predators. It's not hard to be like I'm better. It's really not that hard. Like it's like walking into a room of like terminally ill patients and being like, I feel so alive. Like, I mean, he's such a smug jerk. I mean, I understand these people they're sick. These people have a mental disorder. They're sick. And I don't feel bad for him.
You don't condone them, but you think it's a little harsh of him to be rubbing it right in their face.
You really do. It's like, do we really need to be putting them like on national television? Like,
imagine their families.
It's like, the funny thing is Chris Hansen, he would never do this out of the good of protecting people. He does it to make money off a TV show. Like, he would never, I mean, correct me if I'm wrong, if some listener knows Chris Hansen, but like, he wouldn't work with people like as volunteer work to get child predators.
Like if
he does it to be on TV.
And they could do the whole thing just as successfully with no TV. But then it just makes for entertainment just to sit the predator down and say, so, you done this before? Let me read the transcript.
You want to put your blankety blank. They're like, do you have a kid? How would you like it if I said that to your son? It's like, dude, you're talking with like
I want to be Chris Hansen for Halloween. I walk around with like sit down with someone and be like, oh really? Then I'd pull out a fake transcript and be like, so this is what you said to her.
It's funny too because when they read, one of my favorite parts of the show is when they read the transcript of like the computer voices. It's like, oh really? I want to put chocolate on you, and then the little girl's voice is like, chocolate? Are you sure? It's like Chris Hansen, you're not telling me you made this for college kids. Like I know you made this to seem like you're a good reporter. That's BS. You made this for comedy.
So let me get this right. You just came over here to eat pizza with her, right? Oh yeah. Then why do you have a bunch of condoms?
The excuses these guys make is ridiculous. Like,
they're very creative.
I mean, so one guy once, he like shook Chris Hansen's hand. He was like, oh yeah, like he tried to play it cool. Like maybe if I like agree with Chris and like be cool, like I won't cry. I'll just, I'll be like, yep, you're right,
Turn
Chris.
my life around.
Yeah, you're right, Chris. All right, thank you. Shake his hand, leave. But then he gets like tackled by the police.
And that's funny. One guy they caught twice.
Yeah,
hey, have I met you before?
Oops. One episode was crazy though. I was watching this one back. I mean, it was probably a year ago. It was like, it's always on at like 3:30 in the morning on like a Saturday too. It's on at the most ridiculous times. The one episode I saw, this guy, he drove like 8 hours and to get to this like fake house.
Desperate people.
And originally, I guess he called the girl and said, I'm not coming. So I guess the cops and everyone, they like packed up and left. And then he called again like an hour before. It was like, I'm 20 minutes away. So all the cops came back, they hid the cars and they did everything. So the guy comes in, Chris Hansen does his thing, whatever. So they get the guy, they arrest him. They search through the guy's car. He had rope-loaded guns and like duct tape and stuff. And
that's
like,
scary.
It scares. I mean, that's when, it's funny when you see like, oh, we're just going to watch a movie. But when you see a guy with like a loaded, it's like, that is bad.
Yeah, it's pretty bad when there's the people who don't get caught.
They had one guy too. They've had like a priest, a rabbi, they had a doctor. I mean, like every person you wouldn't expect to like be on this are on it. I mean, it's insane. I mean, that show, if they released a box set though, I mean, that would easily sell. You're telling me
I'd love that.
I could name like 100 people that would buy that, like hands down.
That would be sold out in every store. That would be the highest rated TV series of the year.
Maybe Governor Lynch can make some copies of it and sell it in New Hampshire and raise some money for the state. But yeah, To Catch a Predator, great show.
Fantastic. All right, looks like we have another advertisement coming our way.
We do? All right,
so we'll get into that and then get into the home stretch and end the episode.
Hello, Kermit the Frog here, and I just thought you might be interested in watching me perform in some of my movies. So, instead of going to your local video shop and purchasing a rental, I suggest that you stay home and stay on your tush and go on the computer and go to Netflix and get a free trial and watch my movies and go and enjoy Netflix. Thank you. Thank you, Fozzie.
And we're back.
Yes, we are.
Time for John to recommend a crappy Kurt Vonnegut book or something stupid.
Well, we're not doing books this week, Eric, as we just agreed.
God.
We're doing movies and albums.
Woo-hoo-hoo.
So why don't you start us off with a movie, Eric?
With a movie. Oh, I thought we were doing albums first.
Fine, then go ahead, do an album.
Give me any time to think, John.
Go ahead, do an album.
All right, no, we can do movies too.
Okay, do a movie.
All right, my movie recommendation is a Disney Pixar film, Up. Actually, I really liked Up a lot. To me, that's probably one of the most adult Disney movies.
Really?
I mean, it stars obviously an old guy, but I mean, the beginning, I don't think a lot of kids. Did you see Up? Or?
I last time I saw a G-rated movie, I had VHS tapes.
Okay. Well, I mean, Up, it surprised me. I mean, I thought it was going to be your typical, Disney movie. I mean, and it was in the sense, it was fun. It's good for the family. But I mean, there's a lot of like...
Innuendo?
No. I mean, usually there's innuendo, like sexual innuendo
right.
that kids don't pick up on. But it wasn't sexual. It was just like mature stuff. There was like death was in it. And like...
Interesting.
Just kind of stuff you usually don't see in a kids movie. I don't think kids pick up on.
It's funny. The kids movies from when we were younger... didn't have as much. Some of them had some innuendo and stuff that kids didn't pick up on, but
much.
Most of them were pretty tame, and parents were probably pretty bored watching them.
Except for like the penis on the castle of the Little Mermaid or something.
Right. But nowadays,
I know what you mean.
Parents can actually get into it and enjoy themselves on
like
a different level.
Yeah, it's like in Shrek when I think it was John Lithgow's character said like, you know what they say about men with big castles. It's not, like kids don't get that, but I mean as an adult, it's like I know what he's saying, but yeah, I mean, Up is good. It had some death in it. I mean, not that I'm giving spoilers away. This is just backstory in the film, but it shows them when they're younger and his wife. They couldn't. Yeah, thanks, John. They couldn't conceive, and there's just kids aren't.
Sounds like Problem Child.
Yeah, exactly. So that's definitely my movie. Time for your stupid movie, John.
All right. Well, keeping with the animated theme,
it's a Kurt Vonnegut themed movie.
All right. Well, keeping with the animated theme,
it's about player piano.
I'm gonna recommend that people watch Beavis and Butthead Do America.
Good movie.
Oh, okay. So yeah, that's a good movie.
Good movie.
I'm glad you approve, Eric.
Beavis and Butthead is completely underrated. Absolutely underrated show. I mean, it was around the 90s before South Park, before Family. I mean, now Family Guy's accepted South Park. I mean, now nobody thinks about it, but that was really one of the first
I think when people
cartoons.
judged Beavis and Butthead back in the day, they watched the first few episodes, which are utter crap.
I mean,
they were terrible.
But I mean, even like The Simpsons used to be risque when it came out.
The Simpsons were pretty terrible.
But I mean, that was like a risque show. It's like, oh, Bart doesn't like school. Oh my God, it's a cartoon, and like it's a cartoon not for kids. But Beavis and Butthead, a completely underrated show. I love that show.
It's very funny, and it shows what MTV's turning our youth into.
It's funny too because one thing I loved about that show is when they would do the music video reviews.
One of the only MTV shows that had anything to do with music.
But good choice. I really like that choice.
Yeah, Beavis and Butthead Do America. Very funny movie. They need to make a sequel to it.
I agree.
And now that Mike Judge doesn't have his hands full with King of the Hill anymore, maybe he can get over to that.
Oh, King of the Hill's done too?
Yep, all done.
I didn't know that. King of the Hill is one of those shows that I'd probably watch a few episodes here and there.
It's funny.
It's like a rerun show for me.
King of the Hill had higher ratings than American Dad, but they canceled King of the Hill and kept American Dad going.
It's probably because King of the Hill's been around for a long time. So
still, Simpsons has been around for a long time too.
King of the Hill was a good show. That's another one of those. I mean, it definitely wasn't as popular as Beavis and Butthead, but it was a good show. It was funny. I liked it. It was almost more like a sitcom, I guess, but animated. But
right.
It was funny. Good stuff. Good.
Yeah, because they never did anything in that show that you couldn't do with real actors.
Right.
Except not age.
So good choice, John. I agree with that. And now for my music recommendation, I'm going to recommend Smashing Pumpkins. Actually, their double album. So I guess it's 2 albums. So it's really one. Melancholy and the Infinite Sadness by Smashing Pumpkins. A lot of, as people may know by now, I love the 90s alternative. Probably my favorite genre of music.
Pretty fun.
And that's definitely one of the top 90s alt albums, in my opinion. One of the top 10, at least. Maybe top 5, maybe. But so that's my choice. How about you?
All right, mine is a little off the beaten path, a little off of what I normally do. Mm-hmm. And I'm going to recommend Brian Wilson's Smile, which Brian Wilson from the former Beach Boys. Right? Yep. And this is a CD that many of the songs were originally constructed for the Beach Boys, but it never panned out. And this was released in the early 2000s.
Oh, really?
And it's very avant-garde and weird artsy album.
Well, I kind of like weird artsy music, so I'll have to check that out.
I'd recommend that.
Good choice. Well, everybody, thank you for listening again. 7 episodes. That's pretty cool. That's really cool. And thank you for, even though we got a very interesting email, I mean, thank you for sending
Mr.
it.
Thomas, please keep sending them.
So everybody again.
And if we didn't answer the question to your the level that you wanted us to, let us know.
Definitely. And podcastpodcastrevolution@gmail.com. We should probably put like a link on our website at some point if we could figure that out, how to like add that in there.
We could do that.
Like an email now type of thing. But we're also on iTunes, guys. How cool is that? So spread the word.
Subscribe, tell your friends, get them into the show.
Definitely.
And maybe we could send you some free t-shirts.
Even be on our show. If you really want to be on it, you're in the area, let us know. Send an email. Come on down.
Yeah. So, Eric, it's been a pleasure.
I wish I could say the same, John.
And as always... Oh, okay. Well, I guess this is our last episode, everybody. No, but we'd like to thank you, the listener. We'd like to thank Mr. Thomas for helping us give us something to talk about.
Oh, boy.
And we'd like to thank our sponsors, Netflix, Potapah Promise, and we'd love to thank ourselves. Because without us, this show would not be possible.
So screw all of you. We don't care.
No, even if nobody listens, we're still going to keep recording.
Don't care about any of you. Except for the women. I care about you.
Right. But I'm sure it's not reciprocal.
Probably because I can't dance.
No. But good thing it's not a video podcast, because you'd see Eric trying to dance, and it's loathsome. It's miserable.
It's not as bad as you will be in 2 months. I can assure you that much.
If I can I'll just do the Napoleon Dynamite dance the whole time.
All right. So,
but then again, I'd have to watch that movie to learn it. I don't want to watch Napoleon Dynamite.
That's a good movie. You don't like that?
When I first saw it, it was kind of and then everyone overquoted it
All
way
right,
too
yeah,
much.
I agree with
And
you.
since then, the movie's gotten slightly better. I still can't stand the character Napoleon Dynamite. I like some of the supporting cast, though.
I just liked how awkward and weird it was. But I agree. When I saw like varsity football players like doing lines of it, it's
you know
all
what's
right.
funny is I think Napoleon Dynamite takes place in roughly the same part of the country as Beavis and Butthead.
Yeah, like the Midwest.
A lot of the things seem very similar.
Yeah, no, I agree. So, anyways, thanks again, guys, and
Das Vidania.
au revoir.
Oh, pants down.